so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hey everybody, welcome to our 5th annual State of the City address. I'm excited to be meeting in person. It's been a long time. This is our first live event since the pandemic started. So it's also a pretty exciting day. It's the debut of my motion picture event. So I got a call last week from Dr. Gander, and he asked, hey, I'm looking for a star to star in this new movie. And I was like, well, I mean, I've done a lot of radio interviews, but I could consider the motion picture. I mean, I could consider that. So we met last week, and we had a full entourage, all the cameras. They were following us around. It was pretty cool. I mean, I had some acting classes in the past, but I wasn't prepared for, the weight that would be carried on my shoulders. But anyway, I'm excited that you get to witness it today. And yeah, I guess that's right, Mayor, State of the City. Let's get into that. Let's talk about that a little bit. I'd like to introduce our mayor. It's my pleasure to introduce Steve Gander. He's a native of East Grand Forks, Minnesota. He attended school in East Grand Forks and the University of North Dakota and the Illinois College of Optometry in Chicago, Illinois. He graduated magna cum laude in 1987. Is 87 your high school graduation or college? Continue on. After graduation from optometry school, he joined Opticare Forks Vision Clinic, where he practices with Dr. Bruce Sorvig, Dr. Destin Coles, and their whole team. And in 1996, he and his business partner Craig Johnson formed Marathon Estates, which owns and manages residential property in Grand Forks and East Grand Forks. Mayor Gander is the past president of the Minnesota Ophthalmology Association, the Altru System Board Chair, the East Grand Forks Rotary Club, the Good Samaritan Center Advisory Board, EGF Planning and Zoning Commission, and EGF Chamber of Commerce, and Christ the King Church Council. He has also served as a council member at large for the East Grand Forks City Council. Dr. Gander's hobbies are running marathons, camping, hiking, snowmobiling, fishing, hunting, and singing. He and his wife Rosalind were married in 1990, and they have 2 grown sons, Thomas and his wife Bailey, and Jonathan. Tom and Bailey have given Steve and Roz 2 grandchildren. So please welcome the mayor of East Grand Forks, Dr. Steve Gander.
Thank you for that welcome. Thanks for everyone in attendance here today. How many of you are glad to gather in person? Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Oh yeah. So even if you have to listen to me for another 40 minutes or so, at least we're all here together in one place. I do want to draw attention to our sponsors for today's event. Our sponsors are located on both sides of the river, as you can see there, and that really shows a lot of community support, community pride. I do want to thank every single one of those sponsors. Thank you to the Grand Forks East Grand Forks Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event, especially Kim and Barry. Thanks to Dave Zavril. Dave had a lot more lines. You're going to see a little video coming up here after a while. And he's amazing, star of stage and screen. You might have to just kind of leave the construction field and go that way. But we'll find out later how that goes for you. And thank you for serving as chamber chair and all your help with this event. Pastor Sam Williamson, thank you for providing the invocation today. Thank you to the Honor Guard from the East Grand Forks American Legion Post 157. I would like to thank the quartet from East Grand Forks Senior High School who sang the national anthem. Anna Massman, Ashlyn Weitz, Adam Johnson, Caleb Zedlick, with direction by Mr. Donovan Hansen. Thank you so much. Within the city, thanks to Megan, our city clerk, and Corey, our technology manager for the East Grand Forks Water and Light Department. And thanks to HB Sound and Light for all the work you put into this and the generous support that you have made to this production. I would also like to thank David Murphy, our city administrator, and all our department heads and city staff who really stepped up this past year. Thank you, Council President Mark Olstead, and all our city council members who have provided excellent leadership both in person and virtually this past year. Every one of you brings knowledge and skills that I don't have, but which are necessary to make the good decisions and lead our community effectively. This time also thank you to all of our frontline healthcare workers who have also stepped up huge in this past year, from Altru, Sanford, Riverview, and everyone else in healthcare that's been right there in the front line. Thank you. Now last week a very strange thing happened. Probably a few strange things, but one in particular. I was over at Cabela's looking at kayaks, and some pretty tough-looking guys came along and pretty much forced me to go with them. Well, you see for yourself. Oh, would you look at this? I need this kayak. I need it so bad.
Mayor, how you doing?
Ah, Dave, nice to see you. What are you doing here?
Good to see you. I'm just walking out of Cabela's. Great place to shop.
Oh, it is. There's a lot of stuff in there. Have you ever been in a kayak before?
No, I have not.
Oh, they're a blast.
Oh, yeah. So how many miles have you been on a kayak there, Steve? I hear you're talking big here about a kayak.
Yeah, 3 to 5 miles I've been in a kayak. How about you?
Well, I've kayaked, once or twice. So, I think both of us would be pretty much at risk. Thank God you got fire and rescue on your phone.
Fire and rescue. We're bringing them in.
We might need them.
I wonder, would they let me drown, though, and pick you up?
No, I think they...
Look at this
Paul.
guy.
Good to see ya.
Paul. So now, Paul, what are you doing here?
Taking a look at what is available.
We're thinking about a kayak. Now, what's the most fun you ever had on the river?
Canoeing.
Canoeing.
Down in South Louisiana. One of the river had a whitewater on it, and it was fun to go down there and try to take the canoe through the whitewater.
Did you have to dodge the gators or crocs or whatever?
We started at the point where we actually had to walk beside the canoe, and then we went out into Lake Pontchartrain. All the way down. It's about 60 miles for the trip.
Ooh, that's a long trek.
Yeah.
Pretty
It was
brave.
fun.
Cool.
Pretty brave. You know what? I'm freezing. Let's go find something to eat. What do you guys say?
I'm all over that. Maybe a beer, too.
There's food all over this place.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Sounds good.
But you'll see later what happened after they kidnapped me. You could tell I was fighting the whole time right there. On February 6th of this year, the City Council spent a day with our City Administrator, David Murphy, and our department heads to set the agenda for the coming year. We spent part of the day considering what it means to lead and have highly effective teams. It came down to one thing. You do whatever the mayor says. or probably just do the opposite of that. In fact, really what it came down to is this: we listen, we build trust, we make sure that the plan incorporates all the best ideas from everybody involved, and you take decisive action, monitoring your progress as you go. We considered our vision for the coming year and beyond. We arrived at our top 10 goals for the year and ranked them. These will also serve as our report card to decide if at the end of the year what sort of progress we've made toward those goals. Well, our number one goal for this year is to move forward with our park and recreation improvements, including our ice arenas and our baseball diamonds. Please welcome Reed Hutton, East Grand Forks Park and Recreation Superintendent, who will share an update on our project. Reed?
Well, thank you, Mayor Gander. Leave it to Mayor Gander to start a round of applause for himself. It's quite an honor to be invited to speak here today on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Improvement Projects, and I hope through the next few minutes you'll gain a better understanding of the great pride we have in our community and the important investment that we need to make to update these great facilities we have. A dream come true, made possible by you. The quote is on the cover of the 1974 dedication of this very Civic Center. A dream come true for our community, with a priority on serving our youth. Nearly 50 years ago, a group of civic-minded individuals and business leaders saw a need for our community. That need was an indoor civic center to meet the growing demands of our children. The top priority, to provide a safe and controlled environment for the youth to grow, play, and learn. Without this vision to invest in our youth, it's safe to assume that none of our sports facilities would exist today. The Civic Center, the VFW Memorial Arena, the Blue Line Arena, and Stouss Park have all been built by the hands of our community members. Wherever you go in our city, you hear stories of family members and neighbors donating time, labor, or materials to build these great venues. And serve our youth? They absolutely have. Serving as a playground to grow through numerous sporting and special events. Today, our community is faced with a challenge. Our Civic Center and recreation facilities require extensive updates and investment to accommodate the growing list of programs that our community desires. In 2019, the city worked with JLG Architects to conduct a review and condition assessment of our facilities. The goal of this review, to develop an accurate list of the deferred maintenance and prepare a preliminary budget of the needed investment to bring these great facilities back up to date. Through this review, the extensive list of needed improvements was developed. Items such as R22 ice plants and ice rink floors, parking lot improvements, spectator and player safety items like stairs with no handrails, narrow egress walkways, the size of our players' benches. Multiple aspects of these facilities which do not meet the standards of the Americans with Disabilities Act. At Stouss Park, items that affect player safety are in use are in dire need of improvements. Through this building review, our community has learned just how costly this could be. Facing a budget in the range of 10 to 13 million in deferred maintenance and code compliance improvements alone. This review has led us to ask more questions of ourselves than we have answers for. First and foremost, what do our residents want to see prioritized in these improvements? Our first priority, we must gauge the needs and wants of our residents and determine what investment is most important to us. Throughout 2020, we conducted online surveys to gather our community's feedback. In total, we received more than 900 online respondents. These survey results have served as the guiding principles in which we will direct our planning efforts. The top priorities targeted by survey results include further become an economic driver in our community by increasing visitor traffic through events and activities. Plan for and invest in improvements that increase the building's function, flexibility, and access for all residents. Repair and renovate our existing buildings with a focus on improved efficiency, safety for participants and for spectators. And finally, improve and renovate the Stouss Park Baseball Complex to allow for longer seasonal use and improve safety. In an effort to put these community priorities into action, the City Council has supported the formation of a building committee made up of residents and active leaders with a number of our local sports organizations. The committee, which was formed in March of this year, has hit the ground running and learning about the work we've done so far and bringing into focus the priorities for our community. This work has already begun. The building committee and JLG architects, along with city staff, have begun programming discussions to develop a project pre-design plan and a preliminary budget. Ultimately, the building committee will pass a recommended plan on to our city council and eventually to our residents. We're off to a great start with this work, and we're excited to see what design concepts will look like in the coming months. A burning question we all have through this process: how much will it cost, and how will we pay for it? In order for this investment to be successful, we recognize the need to find multiple funding sources. One piece of the funding puzzle is the option of a local sales tax. In 2016, the swimming pool sales tax and renovation project was overwhelmingly approved by our residents. More than 70% of voters voted in favor of this project and the local tax increase. I believe I can proudly say that our community can be very proud of the use of this sales tax. The $2.1 million pool renovation project is paid in full more than 2 years ahead of schedule. And the 1% local sales tax was retired in September of 2020. I might add the Sherlock Park swimming pool has averaged nearly 16,000 visitors a summer since its reopening, up from an average of about 9,000 prior to its renovations. Throughout the next year, the City Council and City staff will have continued discussion about an option for a local sales tax and how it fits the needs of our community. If a sales tax should be pursued, it first requires city and legislative authority from the state of Minnesota and would ultimately be brought back to you, our residents, for a November 2021 general election. We don't plan to stop there in seeking funding opportunities. Our goal is to complete these investments with as limited of a tax impact as possible in our community. Even while in the planning process, we're working hard to find alternative funding opportunities. The first success story we have is Craft Hockeyville. This social media campaign last August took our community by storm. Eastsiders, current and past, canceled weekend plans to show their Eastside pride in a race to cast the most votes and crown ourselves as Hockeyville USA. Social media platforms across the region and state were trending in support of East Grand Forks. Ultimately, we took home a first runner-up prize and an award of $30,000 to support our arena upgrades. It was an exciting week and a great sign that our community has the ability to reach people and garner support both locally and throughout the region. On the heels of this successful campaign, the city applied for funding through the Minnesota Amateur Sports Mighty Ducks grant. This 50% matching grant will retrofit the ice plant in this very civic center to remove the R22 with an updated, more efficient and environment-friendly refrigerant. Retrofit improvements, I'm excited to share, will happen this off-season and be ready for use by next fall. How can you help with this? This is a question I hope you all are asking by this point. You are the most important piece of our funding puzzle. We need your feedback and your support to make these dreams come to fruition. In the coming weeks, we plan to engage in an interview process with community and business leaders to discuss our projects in further detail and gauge the potential support for a capital campaign. We want to hear from each of you, what your feelings are for these projects, how these facilities can further invest in our community, making it a more desirable place to work, live, or raise your families. Finally, is this a project which aligns with your family or your business's philanthropic goals? Will you help us make dreams come true for the next generation? Funding study interviews will be scheduled soon for the weeks of May 10th to May 27th. If you're interested in learning more about these projects or would like to sit down for a private, confidential interview as part of our fundraising study, please seek me out at the end of this luncheon or contact us at the Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you, Mayor Gander, again for inviting me to participate, and go East Grand Forks.
Thank you so much, Reed, for you and all the volunteers that you help and oversee, and all your staff. It's coming together very well. Our second goal from our planning retreat earlier this year is to make progress toward the completion of 2 South End bridges. We do have some friends here from Grand Forks. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. There is some growing consensus that we need 2 bridges on the south end. We need a neighborhood bridge to connect the southern residential areas. The likely location of this will be either 32nd or Elks Drive. The final location will accomplish traffic objectives, contain costs including flood mitigation, and minimize the impact on the neighborhoods. The second bridge location is likely to be at Merrifield Road, although our friends from Grand Forks might say this is the first location, placing it south of the East Grand Forks city limit. The bridge will handle commercial, agricultural, truck, and other traffic. The need for these bridges has been identified for over 25 years. We will work with the MPO, City of Grand Forks, both counties, the 2 states, and the federal government for funding and certainly for approval for all these bridges. The third goal for the year is to take care of our pavement in our city streets. We have identified areas in disrepair. We are working on repairs and plans to get the projects completed. This happens to be 20th Street and 5th Avenue Northwest. Definitely needs major work. Pretty sure it's bad when trees start growing in your pavement. Pretty sure that's never a good thing. 10th Street Northeast along the southern edge of the industrial park is broken up and should also be extended further to the east to allow for further development of our industrial park and to serve the businesses already located out there. We've identified costs for these projects with several alternatives, and we're working through funding scenarios to get them done. Don't worry, I'll talk roundabout you guys, don't worry. Just idle down. Our fourth goal for this year is to enhance our business community. We are focused on business retention and expansion. We're looking at the retail sector, including filling vacant retail spaces. There are some positive developments in this area. Grand Trailer Sales has taken over the space previously held by the Dollar Store. And in addition to that, we have some strong interest in the former Shopco space and the former Pizza Hut building. We are in the early stages of planning further development of our industrial park, as well as partnering with businesses already there for their expansion. And of course, we always need to recognize American Crystal Sugar Company, our #1 employer, along with all the other agribusinesses in this area. Our fifth goal is to keep our financial reserves on target. About 10 years ago, our financial reserves had fallen dangerously low. And for the next 5 years, the council, without me there yet, worked really hard to rebuild those reserves. They did great work and set the reserves back to the targeted amount. Now, for the last several years, including the strange year of 2020, we've kept our reserves at and above the target that we've set. And that means, of course, that we can hold taxes at a fair level, which is about the rate of inflation, about 2%. Our sixth goal is to make Bigland Road improvements. This will include improving pedestrian safety at 13th Southeast, improving access for motorists, especially where Bigland intersects Reinhardt Drive, and at 13th Street. This is likely to include some combination of traffic lights and or roundabout. 2021 will be a planning year for these projects, with construction hopefully getting underway in 2022. Our seventh goal is to focus on entry-level housing. I believe that 2021 will be a kind of a tough year for this. We know that building materials nationwide have gotten a little bit higher priced, and so really making much progress on this one will be difficult. But if it is to work, I believe it's going to take a public-private partnership of sorts, where on the public side we can identify some parameters of what these entry-level homes might look like, and then bring in contractors and local materials vendors to get that done. It's worked well in the past, it's worked in other communities, and it would be our hope to bring that sort of thing back at some time in the future. Our eighth goal is to maintain and enhance our Greenway. One positive thing that came out of COVID is a huge increase in the utilization of our Greenway and trail system. People are realizing what a great feature it is in our community. We're doing a mill and overlay on sections of our trail system this year. We're scheduled to install a kayak launch, kind of like the one they have over in Thief River Falls. Kayaking is amazing. If you haven't done it, it's one of the most peaceful ways to enjoy the river. I've been up and down that river on snowmobiles, on a fishing boat, dirt bikes along the trail, and there's something about just coasting along in a kayak that's about as pleasant as you can get on a summer afternoon. Encourage it. We're working with the DNR to find replacement of our boat launch and to fund that. Our boat launch is broken down. There's bits of rebar poking out through the concrete. Definitely in need of replacement. This one will take a while. 10 and 15 years ago, and 20 even, we had some assurance from the DNR. That kind of came and went, and we'll get it revved back up again. They have some new funding sources that we could be able to use. We're working on overall improvements to the Greenway, particularly in the Griggs Park area. Our 9th goal is to provide assistance to businesses impacted by COVID. The reason this one is way down at number 9 is basically to complete programs that we've already begun, and we will finish those and hope that COVID doesn't have to surge again and we don't have to come with another round. If it does, we'll be ready. Our businesses really matter to us as the City of East Grand Forks. Our 10th goal is to restore losses in local government aid. LGA is our dollars sent from the state to cities like us. It's used to offset local property taxes, and when they cut LGA, either we have to cut expenses, which is difficult if you've already been cutting, and then also probably raise taxes to cover the loss of that. And better yet, let's just keep the LGA at the fair level where it should be. Now, I told you earlier that some guys dragged me away from Cabela's last week, and I should show you proof of that. Watch this. So first of all, thank you for having us.
Yeah, welcome.
And,
Nice pizza.
You know, we've gotten to know each other even through this past year, and I've heard a little bit of your story, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of it. And so the fact that you've kept it going, you know, not only have you kept the traditional feel, but you've updated it in so many ways, added certain things to the menu. Here we have the East Side Special Pizza in front of us, which is amazing. And I know you'll always be big on delivery. I know that's a big, big part of your business. But you also, I'm sure, look forward to more and more people coming in to your place here and also to your deck outside.
Yep.
What's your plan for this year and beyond?
Well, we hope to expand our patio a little bit this year with more seating out there and maybe a rollout bar, hopefully. Those are a couple things we're kind of working on just because everyone kind of wants to be outside right now. Maybe when the weather warms up a little bit more. Other than that, maybe a pizza named after the mayor.
Hey, all right.
You never know. We'll see what happens, but we're enjoying it and we can't wait to see what comes.
Anything that we can do for you going forward to help you grow your business?
I want to say I just want to I'm so thankful and grateful for all the support the community has given to Mike's Pizza. They kept us alive during all of the shutdowns when I was really, really worried. And we're just so thankful, and we can't wait to see what happens. We can't wait for foot traffic to come back downtown and walking the Greenway and people out there. And hopefully we have more events downtown that will bring some people down and out and see what happens. And I want to say thank you for all the other businesses supporting us too. I really enjoy this community, and I'm glad that we're still in it, and I just love being part of it. So we're glad to be here too.
Mike's Pizza was one of our favorite hangouts after junior high dances, and that was just a couple years ago, right, Roz? And the pizza is better than ever. Check them out. You know, amidst all the changes of 2020, the City of Grand Forks saw the end of Mayor Michael Brown's 20-year tenure and the beginning of Mayor Brandon Bochenski's time in office. I've had only good experiences working with Mayor Brown, who's always open and available for issues that our two communities face together. He had the attitude that what's good for one of the two communities is good for the whole region, and I agree with that. I can't deny that there is a friendly competition between the two cities, but because of that, we all grow and improve. Mayor Bochenski and I have gotten off to a great start. He brings a ton of energy and a proven history of accomplishment. He understands teamwork, and he can stand under the load when challenges present themselves. I look forward to working with him also in the future. We have a great working relationship with Grand Forks City Administrator Todd Phelan, Council President Dana Sandy, and the rest of the Grand Forks City Council. We don't agree on every item, but that would be impossible. We do maintain communication, and we do continue working toward common objectives. We are blessed to have the Grand Forks Air Force Base in our community. Their patriotism that they exhibit every day as they carry out their mission inspires us all. We stay connected with them through the Chamber of Commerce and through our sister city, Grand Forks. I do want to say thank you to Base Commander Colonel Cameron S. Pringle and all the airmen who serve our country right here among us. Colonel Pringle is a command pilot with over 2,000 hours of flight time in various aircraft. He has over 170 combat hours and combat support time flying in operations in Africa, the Balkans, Korea, and the Middle East. And I know that they're going to have a little change in some of what they're up to out there at the Grand Forks Air Force Base, but up till now and looking ahead, they've been the premier global hawk wing of the United States Air Force. The wing has over 1,400 airmen in support of all military operations. It also provides support for the Department of Homeland Security, Customs, and Border Protection. So thank you to everyone from the Grand Forks Air Force Base, to all members of the military in the United States, active duty, National Guard, reserves, and retired. Northland Community and Technical College is a comprehensive 2-year community and technical college offering 80+ program options. Northland also has a liberal arts transfer program which offers students the first 2 years of their bachelor's degree. As of yesterday, Sandra Cadu has been selected as the new president of Northland. Previously, Dr. Cadu has served as Chief Academic Officer at Hazard Community and Technical College in Hazard, Kentucky. We look forward to working with President Cadu and the rest of the faculty and administration in the coming years ahead. The University of North Dakota is an invaluable resource for this whole area. UND's enrollment is now up around 13,500. UND employs almost 2,500 people from our region. UND brings many sports and cultural events to our community. We benefit greatly from having them here. On June 1, 2020, we all know that Dr. Andrew Armacost officially began his tenure as University of North Dakota's 13th president. Before becoming president of UND, Dr. Armacost served as the dean of the faculty at the U.S. Air Force Academy. With more than 30 years of active duty and 20 years at the Academy, Dr. Armacost served as the rank of Brigadier General and as the Chief Academic Officer for this nationally renowned institution. We are pleased to welcome President Andrew Armacost to our area. So, truth be told, it did not take much convincing to get me to check out the local places in our community. So here's our next stop. You're new to the neighborhood, but it feels like you've been here forever. I know you came from another venue and you came over here and started this up. Yep. And you have a great niche. Tell us about your company, kind of what went into starting it up the way that it did, and anything else you want to tell us about it.
It started out as a kind of a joke. You know, I tell a lot of people, a couple of friends talking about stuff, and I can't even take credit for the name. That was a buddy of mine, Justin Merrill. He just he thought that'd be cool. Put a little hole in the wall bar, called it the Spud Junior. His shop at the time was located right behind the old last location of the Spud. And I was driving by this place one day and I'd never been in here. I just wanted to see it. So I had some time to kill. I saw the for lease sign. I called the owner. I said, hey, I'm not really looking to do anything, but I'd like to take a look at your space if you would. He goes, yeah, I can meet you there in 15 minutes. So I came over and walked through the door, and I'd taken a chance before, and I thought, what the heck? You know, why not try it again? And put a menu together, and the rest is history. I've told everybody that's asked, there's no way that one person could have navigated in this industry over the last year. I mean, you had to have a team, you had to have multiple perspectives, points of view. Ice houses weren't my idea. That was my manager Chris's idea. So sometimes it's just you have the right people in the right places at the right time, and we get a chance to still be here. Yeah.
That's great.
And just that local support, that kind of reassurance that hey, these people they need your support in any fashion that you could possibly support them. I think that's all I can ask for is help us kind of reaffirm that hey, we're still here. We're all still here. We're all still trying to function. And if you could, maybe one night a week, choose a favorite local place kind of deal.
Dave, you were amazing in that video. I love Justin's energy. I love his willingness to follow through on his good ideas and the good ideas of others in his organization. He's a bit of a rebel, but sometimes you need that to make things happen. Each year for this event, I like to check in with our department heads about their main accomplishments for the past year and their plans for the coming year and beyond. Chief Mike Hedlund offered the following regarding our police department. The past year has been filled with challenges for the East Grand Forks Police Department. COVID has changed the way things are done in law enforcement agencies across the country. Masks and social distancing became the norm and are a challenge in a profession where human contact and communication are vital as we seek to resolve problems. Of course, the death of George Floyd has had a major impact on law enforcement agencies nationwide. We continue to face challenges as we move forward to meet the needs of society. Closer to home, the death of Officer Cody Holte of the Grand Forks Police Department reinforced the understanding of just how dangerous law enforcement can be. Our department works closely with the Grand Forks Police Department, and this loss has touched every one of us. Safe to say it's touched every one of us, this whole community. We ask that you keep East Grand Forks Police Sergeant Tony Hart and his family in your thoughts and prayers. This past fall, Sergeant Hart began to suffer serious cardiac and other health issues, and he was airlifted to Rochester for treatment. It was determined that Sergeant Hart needed a heart transplant. The wait began. With the help of his family and the staff of the Mayo Hospital, Tony worked to improve his health so he could successfully receive a heart when one became available. So Tony has now received his new heart. He continues a slow and steady recovery in Rochester. We look forward to the day when he can return to East Grand Forks. If you'd like to make a donation in honor of Tony, you can mail it or drop it off at Franzen Bank in East Grand Forks or at the East Grand Forks Police Department in care of Tony Hart. Throughout the past year, our officers have worked through these challenges and have provided amazing service to the citizens of East Grand Forks. We continue to protect and serve all of our residents and guests. One fun thing we got to do was to hold our 11th annual Code 3 for Christmas. With the help of many donations from our community, we helped make the holiday season a little brighter for some East Grand Forks families. The greater Grand Forks community has always been amazingly supportive of our law enforcement officers, and that has never been truer than this past year. From simple spoken thank yous to cards and letters, and even treats for our officers, including Leroy, our canine officer. This community has gone out of its way to demonstrate that they appreciate our officers. The members of our department are so grateful and are so very proud to live and work in this wonderful community. Chief Jeff Bushy of the fire department shared the following. One of our biggest highlights this past year has been our people. I'm very proud of our firefighters and their families as they have persevered through a challenging time and yet delivered excellent service to our community. It is always exciting to promote and hire people, so I look at that as a highlight. This past year, we promoted Paul Hansen to Assistant Fire Chief, Tanner Peterson to Engineer. Firefighter Hunter Olson successfully completed his probation. We also hired Benjamin Staska as full-time firefighter. We added 3 paid-on-call firefighters, Andrew Robertson, Wyatt Swanson, and Alexander Garceau. I'm confident that these 4 firefighters will serve our community well. Our newest piece of equipment is a portable fire extinguisher simulator. The simulator safely replicates the proper use of portable fire extinguishers. This tool will be used to train our firefighters as well as to train citizens and business employees in the proper use of portable fire extinguishers. This was purchased with a $10,000 grant donated by the East Grand Forks Firefighters Relief Association and a $2,000 grant from Enbridge. In the coming week, we will look forward to returning to normal by getting back into the schools, that is in the coming year, meeting with our senior citizens and in the general public to teach fire safety. We also plan to restart our fire safety inspections throughout our community. This year, we will implement our new mission and vision statement, which will guide our operation into the future. Our firefighters are healthy, prepared, and ready to serve. Keith Mickelseth, General Manager of the East Grand Forks Water and Light Department, shared, we have a 2020 Minnesota Municipal Power Agency wind turbine refurbishment. Back in 2010, wind turbines were installed in all MMPA member communities at a cost of about $500,000 each. These wind turbines generate power which is fed to the grid. They also serve as a demonstration and educational asset about wind power. Due to normal wear, our wind turbine recently had to be taken offline. This wind turbine in the last year was refurbished at a cost of about $175,000. This will extend its life for about 10 years. We also repainted our north end water tower. The last time that tower was painted was in the year 1996. In June and July of 2020, the north water tower was painted by Viking Painting at a cost of about $400,000. We were able to include the new Life Connected logo along with the Northland Community and Technical College logo and 2 American flags. It looks great. Nancy Ellis, City Planner, ADA Coordinator, Building Inspections, shared the following. First, we are updating our land use plan. It should be completed by the fall of this year. It's a guide for future growth for the city, and it allows our residents to impact how we want our city to look and feel out into the future. There will be additional opportunities for you to comment. We hope that you'll visit the Land Use Plan website for information at www.egfplan.org. City's area transit has continued to operate during COVID. We are thankful for state and federal support that enabled us to provide uninterrupted service to Grand Forks and East Grand Forks during this time. This year, we will update our transit development plan, which reviews our current service and looks at future needs. We will be seeking public input on this plan as well. So if you have any area where you want more bus routes, more frequent, maybe later hours, any of those things, this is the sort of thing that that plan will take a look at. Number 3, our building inspections office has functioned well during the City Hall closure. Now with City Hall open to the public, we will continue to offer our online building permit application process to residents and builders. We have received feedback from them that it's a convenient way to get a permit on their time schedule, not just when we're open for business. Charlotte Helgeson, our library director from Campbell Library, shared the following. The library staff has provided continuous service through this past year. We put materials at the front door, invited patrons in by appointments, and brought programming to the virtual world. Our amazing patrons have shown appreciation through comments, donations, beautiful smiles, and in person behind masks and on screens. As we take each new step in opening our doors more and more, we keep in mind the safety of our patrons and our staff. Our plans for summer programming will be something different from the past and a lot of fun. Keep an eye out for the details, and we hope to see you all very soon. Carla Anderson, our finance director, shared the following. The finance department worked diligently with other departments on their financial needs related to the pandemic. We also worked closely with the EDA on getting CARES dollars allocated to the businesses in 2020 in compliance with all the program requirements. This year, we'll be helping and supporting the city on utilizing and distributing American Rescue dollars when they become available within the guidelines. Our finance department has once again been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association for its comprehensive annual financial report for the most recent fiscal year. Paul Gordy, our EDA director, had this to say. During the last 12 months in the area of COVID business assistance, the EDA did 131 separate loans or grants to 57 businesses totaling $1.3 million. Of that amount, almost $1 million was in the form of grants or forgivable loans. This includes federal CARES dollars passed through the state, county, and city, along with $260,000 set aside by the city for this purpose. We also did 2 traditional EDA loans for expansion of existing EGF businesses, and we sold 8 lots for new homes from our inventory. Upcoming plans for the EDA are continue working with businesses to recover from the impacts of COVID, facilitate business expansions and the filling of vacant spaces, continue working with retailers selling city lots, realtors, focus on workforce development, welcome people who are new to our community from other parts of the U.S. and from around the world. I would like to personally thank Paul Gordy, our EDA staff, the EDA board members, and the EDA Loan Committee. With the COVID assistance packages that you were tasked with, a challenge way larger than you signed up for, and you didn't blink. You persevered to quickly and fairly distribute the funds to the businesses that needed them so much. Thank you. One of the favorite restaurants for local folks and visitors alike is the Blue Moose. It's hard to beat the food or the atmosphere. This place has quite a history. Do you want to tell us, kind of how this place start and anything else you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so the Blue Moose started a little over 25 years ago. Dave Homestead was the original owner, and he started it across the MERS. And with the flood of '97, he decided to move the building to its current location here in 1999. Then we added on a new bar in 2007. And then my business partner, Nate Shepard, who's the head chef, we bought in 11 years ago, and we fully bought the place in 2020.
Well, what a great time to start.
It definitely was interesting first year of full ownership, but we made it through it, and things are looking up.
Nice.
This is a one-of-a-kind restaurant. The feel that you have here, what goes into that?
That was our whole goal, was to be unique, something a little bit different, but has that up north feel to it.
Yep.
You know, you're almost like you're on vacation when you're here.
So now looking ahead at 2021, what are you most excited about?
Well, definitely some warmer weather and get that patio up and running again.
Yep.
Looking forward to hosting events. Our Oktoberfest in the fall is a huge event. We do outdoor German food and beverage. We do wiener dog races. And then in the wintertime, we're looking at our vintage snowmobile show, which is a big attraction. So super excited for that. And hopefully we can get back up and running to 100%.
Excellent.
There has definitely been a lot of support from the community, in which we are so thankful for. They helped a lot of servers and cooks through the tough time, the really tough times, and we can't thank those customers enough, and we look forward to serving them in the future.
Philly steak and fries, baby. Gotta love it. Nate and Patrick, you guys do a nice job over there, and thank you for all that you do for the city and the fun times that we've all had over at your place. So to succeed in any endeavor, you need a ton of patience. I'm looking out at my wife of over 30 years. I've given her about 1,000 reasons to leave, and yet here she is. Thanks, Roz. I see Bruce, my optometry partner of over 33 years, longer than I've been married. Sorry, Roz. In the flood of 97, we had about 5 feet of floodwater through our whole practice and over $500,000 in damage. You know what? It never entered our minds to walk away. It didn't even come to mind. We just got to work getting things back to normal, taking care of our patients. If anyone makes a favorable comment about our practice, we say it's glory to God because we're not that smart. I see my real estate partner of about 25 years. We started our business in 1996 with the purchase of a fourplex. We lost about half of that fourplex, well, exactly half, in 1997. Craig said it was my half. Go figure. Well, the keys to our success are that we're too dumb to lie and we're too dumb to quit. The good Lord brings along what you need when you need it. One more key is that we make every project fun. I remember sliding around while removing backed up sewage and having a real wingding, but we did not attempt any cartwheels. We still own that property. It's in better condition than it's ever been, and 4 happy families still live there. The other day I walked into City Hall and I told Megan, you know, Megan, things are getting kind of crazy. I'm going to have to resign from being mayor. She laughed in my face. Even though I tried to be deadpan, she knew I'm not going anywhere. She kind of made me happy, actually, that she took it that way. Well, no trip to our downtown would be complete without a stop at the River Cinema movie theater. Let's see what they're up to. But no trip to the downtown would be complete in terms of a fun, enjoyable evening without a stop at the theaters.
River Cinema.
So here we are.
Yes.
And I know you're going to show us a good time right here. We know that you're going to set us up with all kinds of great hospitality. I want to tell you one story I know about your father. We had a guy that came in and helped us to vision what this downtown could look like.
Yes.
And part of his vision was to do a rendering that showed an IMAX theater on one corner. And that showed up in the front page of the Herald, which found its way to the Foston Black Duck area. Mm-hmm. And somebody razzed your dad and said, oh, they're putting a theater over there in East Grand Forks. Bob, is that you? And Bob's like, well, it's not, but it could be. And that's what started the whole thing.
Yep, they're looking for something to do with this building. It was empty. There was nothing going on, and they wanted something.
So now here you are. I mean,
yes.
You're taking it to the next level. Tell us about that.
Well, me and my family have worked our whole lives for my dad, my mom and dad. And my brother Kevin bought our Foston Theater, and my brother Brian and I bought the Grand Theater and River Cinema. And we did it 10 weeks before COVID.
Oh my.
Yay, great move, Dad.
Very strategic.
Very good. I thought I'd finally come into my own. I was going to do great, and welcome to COVID. So we just keep moving forward. It's a family business. All of us do it. We want to bring renters in. We want to continue to expand, and the city has been great with helping us with that. So by working with the city and working with the surrounding community, we've been 100% full through COVID. I mean, that is amazing.
Yeah,
a lot of malls are empty. We are full with a waiting list coming in.
Wow, that's great.
So, I mean, that it's a tribute to how well the city works with us.
Thanks, folks. You know what? Working together, we will get through this COVID situation, and it's very serious. You know, our hearts are heavy for everyone who's lost a loved one, certainly to everyone who's passed, to everyone who's suffered the effects of COVID. And we mean absolutely no insensitivity, and yet even those dear souls who left us would want us to move on and actually learn from it and continue to build. So we will get through this. You know, in some ways, rebuilding after the flood of '97 was easier because you could see the damage, you could see the progress you were making, you could feel the satisfaction of completing the rebuilding. The damage of COVID is more economic, and it's more in consumer confidence and habits. But I think the road to recovery is exactly the same. You do what you know is right, you care for the needs of others, and you have some fun doing it. Thank you.
The tables have turned. A city will rise. A true story. Leading a normal life. Coming soon. This film has not been rated.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Mayor. I was able to text my, anyway. Found out that part of the reason is you're not supposed to drink a beer at every stop, and might have been the reason why they cut all my lines out, but really appreciate you all joining us today. It was a blast, and thank you, Mayor, for all the good news. Have a great day. Thank you.